Dallas had to be the craziest event that we've ever seen. Let's talk about it. Yo, what's up, guys? Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting here, one of the HCS commentators, analysts, and grassroots content creators, and we have an HCS report where today we're breaking down all of Dreamhack Dallas, the crazy open that went down in Texas. First of all, I'm going to apologize that I don't have a voice right now. I was, instead of doing analyst work like I normally do with HCS, I was actually doing casting all weekend with LVT, and I was screaming the entire time, so sorry about that. But I will say, thank God for all the support and the love. Appreciate y'all. We're back to making content. I know it's been about a week since we uploaded, but we're gonna get right back to doing, every other day uploads, almost daily uploads, and doing our thing. So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment down below, boost that algorithm to more people that might enjoy it. We're giving it $1 to one lucky subscriber that comments down below. Without further ado, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Dallas was incredible, and it started off with pool play where we saw upsets right off the rip, which heavily affected what went down in bracket play. Starting off in Pool A, I'll break down actually all the teams as well. So you have TSM, Druck, Manny, Solstice, and Talik. You had Manny coming back to the friendship squad, creating that KCP, Native Red, Fung 4 roster with Optic Gaming also in there, Bound, Formal Legend, Renegade, and Gen G. Breaking Shot, Common, King, Nick, and Ryan would be your top 3 squads to make it out. TSM pulling off a 3-0, which means right off the rip, they upset Optic Gaming. An upset on Optic Gaming in Pool A was absolutely crazy, and I don't know if anybody predicted that. However, back in Arlington, that same Optic Gaming roster was also upset and went down to the lower bracket round number 1 and ended up going through it and winning the tournament. There's no way that would happen again, right? Meanwhile, Gen G were able to beat out BH3, one of the top teams from Europe that came out of Open to make it into pool play to be a part of your top 3, making it into championship bracket. Remember, the third place squad would start off in lower bracket. The first place squad would play a second place squad in another pool, and then the second place squad would obviously play a first place squad, another pool, which remembered that because that's going to affect how the bracket went forward. But in Pool B, you got Shopify, Rebellion, Cycle, Frosty, Last Shot at World 2, made it to a grand finals in Arlington after being the hottest team in 2025, but weren't able to take first place on LAN. Would this be their first time, or I guess their first major win, or it's open, God bless, major opens, invitationals. Would this be their first major tournament that they would win, or would they not even make a grand finals? Where Team Nemesis, Glory, SLG, Stipe Drone, and Wu Tam finish out second place here and omit a newer org coming in, but it's kind of some veteran players now are becoming veterans quickly, are Ezo, Huss, Collect, and Mortally. The young group, but slowly starting to become veterans, and I'm slowly starting to like them more and more. Even took a game off of Shopify Rebellion on their best map and game type combination, Bomb Fortress. Omid were able to take a game off of them. Pool B, those will be the 3 squads that moved into championship bracket. Mind Freak, the number 1 team in Australia, made it out of Open, but weren't able to make it into championship bracket. Where we go down to Pool C, and Pool C, FaZe, coming out clean, probably with one of the better records here. I mean, 9-2, 9-2, 9-1, so better than both TSM and Shopify Rebellion. They were able to beat out Cloud9, FaZe, Falcated, Penguin, Suppressed, and Trippy, Cloud9, Boo Boo Doo, Lethal, Sab, and Septify. FaZe came in with their same roster from last event, but Cloud9 did have to make a switch after Manny joined TSM. They end up picking up Lethal, which is not a bad pickup if you ask me. Meanwhile, Zero Tenacity, Jimbo, Mighty, Sika, and Chick, the number 2 squad in Europe, were able to make it out after beating Unreal Nightmare. Unreal Nightmare featuring Envor and Super CC fantastic job making it out of open, even upsetting Tapping Buttons and the crew on Ether Gaming, which were the #1 team in Mexico, but weren't able to make it out of pool play. Were Unreal Nightmare. As we move on to Pool D, Envy, who are my wild card because they came out of nowhere and they came in hot. Envy, Descendant, Piggy, Precision, and Yaxon were able to upset Space Station Gaming early on in pool play. Eco, Lucid, Snakebite, and Stellar finish out second place in pools, where Complexity, Advocacy, Cherished, Mental, and Spartan came out and took down who were the #2 team in Latin America, Alpha Esports, who came out of open. But again, no open team were able to make it into championship bracket in this event. But Envy, the squad that featured both both Piggy and Yaxon, that was kind of half of that team that was on Luminosity. They came as the number 5 seed in Arlington, but didn't win a single series, including against the open bracket squad. Well, they pick up some fantastic players. They say, hey, Precision, you would drop from Complexity, we're going to pick you up. Hey, Descendant, you're looking for a home? Hey, come on over. And man, did this Envy squad look good. Precision not only getting his revenge on Complexity for dropping him, but again, an upset on Space Station Gaming. Complexity, as we talked about, dropped half their roster. Spartan and Mental stay together, but you bring on Cherished, who was left off of TSM, to bring Manny on board, and then Advocacy, who was a part of that Luminosity roster. Complexity didn't exactly have the pool play they wanted, but we'll see exactly what happens from there as we move forward into bracket play. Bracket play, TSM and Nemesis match up in pool and in round 1 because of what happened in pool play. Keep in mind, TSM came out as your #1 seed. They would play the #2 seed in Pool B. You would think that would be Optic versus Nemesis, but TSM pulled off an upset there, and also another one here, the retooling team Nemesis on their way to the semifinals. Envy and Cloud9, again, pay attention. #1 seed from Pool D plays the #2 seed from Pool C. This top half of the bracket, quote unquote, easier. You don't have to deal with a FaZe, a SSG, a Shopify, and Optic. They're all on the lower side. Upsets in pool play matter. Envy, 3-0 Cloud9 on the way to the semifinals. And this is where things got crazy. FaZe and Space Station Gaming immediately matching up. You would expect this to be in a upper bracket semifinals or super late in a lower bracket, like a lower bracket semifinals, but it was in round #1 where FaZe would 3-1 Space Station Gaming to advance forward, and Shopify, Rebellion, and Optic, the favorites to make a grand finals. 3-2 for Shopify Rebellion over Optic, similar to how they did in the winners bracket finals of Arlington. But keep in mind, Optic eventually did win that tournament. Where we move over to our semifinals, TSM versus Envy, two of the ultimate dark horse squads. It would be TSM that once again, back-to-back game 5s, they clutch it out to guarantee a top 3 finish in the winners bracket finals. That's right, TSM would be in the top 3 no matter what happened from this point forward. Meanwhile, FaZe also guaranteeing themselves a top 3 after upsetting Shopify Rebellion, a favorite to make it into the grand finals alongside Optic. Guaranteed at that point, it was impossible for us to see a rematch of a grand finals from Arlington. Everybody said this was going to be a 2-horse race between Shopify Rebellion and Optic all year long. Well, because of the actions that happened in pool play, but ultimately here in the semifinals as well, we were guaranteed to see a different grand finals and not a rematch of Arlington. Fast forward to FaZe pulling off the 3-0 against TSM in Championship Sunday. TSM pulled off some great wins. I mean, an upset in pool play, back-to-back crazy game 5s. Not going to beat them over the head for losing out to FaZe. FaZe are an amazing team. We talk about them having low lows, but they have extremely high highs as well. FaZe Grand Finals, TSM one series away from making grand finals. And again, no matter what happened for them, they would get top 3, even if they lost their loser bracket finals match. Team Nemesis with a 3 over Zero Tenacity. No real surprise there. Zero Tenacity are great. Team Nemesis are better. Gen G with a 3-2 over Cloud9. That to me was a little bit surprising, especially when you consider that Cloud9 were 1 game away from making Championship Sunday back at Arlington. They almost took SSG's spot. To see them not even make it out of lower bracket round 1 is really surprising to me, but also really good for Gen G to move forward. SSG 3-0-0 Mint. No surprise whatsoever. Nobody expected SSG to even be in the lower bracket round 1, and the same for Complexity, who Optic Gaming, who 3-0 Complexity. Unfortunate for Complexity because I feel like they didn't get the chance to show what their new team is made of. You ran into Optic round 1 of lower bracket. That sucks as a team that's trying to gain momentum and trying to make a run. Team Nemesis in round number 2, 3-2 Gen G. No surprise for the win, but I will say a little bit surprised that Gen G were able to force that into a game 5. I think that was really great for Gen G, but Team Nemesis still advanced forward. Where Optic Gaming were taken to game 5 by SSG, but ultimately Optic will pull off a win. Again, the actions from pool play. Because SSG got upset, because Optic also got upset, it put them in a crazy round number 1 match against FaZe, where there was another win that sent SSG down and Optic also sent down. In no way, shape, or form do we expect to see an Optic and an SSG going at it in a losers bracket round 2. Because of that, SSG, although they played better than they did in Arlington, we really saw some improvements. We saw an SSG that almost beat Optic Gaming, the returning champions. But SSG get knocked out. Top 8. That's like, what? Knocked out in top 8. Were Space Station Gaming. Again, they played better. It felt like they finally were starting to click a little bit. But Optic were on a freaking mission. Shopify Rebellion 3-0 Team Nemesis. No surprise there. Shopify Rebellion were the hottest team in the league for so long until Optic dethroned them back at Arlington. Optic 3-1. My wild card in Envy. I thought Envy were good. But come on now, again, Optic were on a mission sent from God himself, as Optic would go on to 3-0 the very team that knocked them down to the lower bracket. I mean, let me remind you real quick. It was, wait, no? Let me not remind you real quick, because apparently I can't, but it was Shopify Rebellion that 3-2'd Optic in round number 1 to send Optic down. Optic were on the same mission that they were on in Arlington, 3-0ing Shopify Rebellion, knocking them out in 4th place. Really surprising to see that. But Optic would 3-0 Shopify Rebellion. They would go on to 3-0 TSM. They would go on to stare FaZe in the face to say, you are simply in our way. 4-1 to reset the bracket. 4-0, making a record of 8-1. And the miracle run that we saw from Arlington, the crazy miracle run that we said would not be repeated, dropping down to lower bracket round number 1 and going on to win the tournament. Somehow Optic do it back to back. How many times in esports history, forget even just Halo, in esports history, has a team gone down to lower bracket round number 1, went on to win the tournament? Optic just did it twice in a row. And as a fan, as a pure fan of the game, it was exciting. The crowd was electric. I'm over here talking storylines. This is amazing. This is crazy and whatnot. I think the only people that maybe weren't excited were the family of Optic Gaming. Like I got the chance to talk to Renegade's stepdad and his mother, and they're having a heart attack. Like after losing out in that pool play, then after the round number 1, they're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And what, like, the only people that didn't find this exciting are like like the ones that are like so close to the team, but us as fans, bro, we're like, dude, this is insane. Not only are we witnessing greatness, but we're witnessing a team that can show the resilience to win in multiple different ways. Like, yes, it's easier to be a front runner all through the winners bracket and to just come out and take a grand finals, but to face adversity round number 1 lower bracket and have to go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games before 5 series before you even get to a grand finals, and then clutch it out, reset the bracket to beat the team twice in the grand finals. That is insane. Congratulations, Optic Gaming. And we'll go over a quick overview of all the teams. Just put on my way, Ed. Again, sorry. I feel like this video would be a lot more impactful if I had my voice. I'm so sorry. But Optic are your champions once again. Absolutely incredible. FaZe second place. I don't think anybody had that. TSM in third place. Shopify Rebellion in top 4. And then it would get even crazier. SSG top 8 alongside Gen G, Team Nemesis and Envy splitting that top 6. It was in another crazy event, and it's just so funny because after Arlington, I said there would be no better event. After Arlington, I said there was no way that we would see another team go down from lower bracket round number 1 all the way to winning a grand finals. And like I said on Twitter, man, am I happy to be wrong, because that was incredible. But thanks a lot, YouTube. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching the video. If you made it all the way to this point, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, all that good stuff. If you're watching me live on Twitch, what up? And and until next time, guys, that's your HCS report. I'll catch you later. Peace out.